If you've read George Orwell's Animal Farm, you'll be familiar with the phrase, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Now, I've not read it, but I can only assume it's a delightful tale of a group of animals living in harmony on a little farm. Anyway, here are 6 games where you can play on animals with 4 or more legs. Simulators have become extremely popular over the last few years as they give you a chance to accurately simulate a life you wouldn't otherwise be able to. In Euro Truck Simulator, you can transport goods across Europe. In Farming Simulator, you can harvest crops. And in Goat Simulator, you can terrorise the inhabitants of a small town. Wait, what? Yes, Goat Simulator puts you in the hooves of a humble goat, but there's nothing realistic about this farmyard fiend. The game plays in a similar style to the old Tony Hawk skateboarding games as you earn points for flips and tricks. And if that's not enough, you can attach your oddly sticky tongue to anything and anyone and drag items and people helplessly around the town. It's health and safety gone mad. Have you ever looked at a little Pomeranian and thought, I wonder how you'd survive in a post-apocalyptic abandoned Tokyo? If so, I've got the game for you. Tokyo Jungle was released back in 2012 on the PlayStation 3, and it tasks you with guiding a long list of creatures, great and small, through a city long abandoned by humans but overtaken by nature. Food must be gathered and predators must be avoided or defeated as you try and survive as long as possible. To give yourself the best chance of staying alive, you can find and equip various items of clothing to boost your stats. The idea of a cat wearing a tuxedo and a gas mask might sound absurd, but for all we know, the only reason animals don't choose to wear high fashion at the moment might be the human race. I mean, sure, you might be on the verge of having your throat ripped out by a lion, but at least you'll look fabulous. If you're looking at Tokyo Jungle and thinking it looks a bit too outdated for your taste, then perhaps a Wave of Survival series might be worth considering. Recently announced during Sony's State of Play, the trailer shows an adorable sugar glider trying to make his or her way through a dense wilderness and struggling with numerous threats from both the environment and other animals within it. It won't be as surreal as Tokyo Jungle, but it may provide a similar survival experience when it drops sometime in 2020. If you prefer being a violent predator while enjoying a bit of intense jazz, then Ape Out might be right up your alley. You may see the top-down view, stylised graphics and visceral violence and get flashbacks to the Hotline Miami series, but Ape Out is from the Hotline Miami publisher, Devolver Digital. Released earlier this year, Ape Out sees you control a large ape as it rampages around the maze, killing its human captors. The already frenetic action of the game is only taken up a notch with the soundtrack, as the jazz backdrop is punctuated by the percussion sounds generated by your acts of violence. Perhaps this fusion could be the start of a whole new generation of action games. Ninjas composing classical music, a policeman solving crimes to the sound of an accordion. Do androids dream of 70s folk music? If 4 legs aren't enough for you, how about 8? Released in 2014, Octodad Deadliest Catch tells the story of a cephalopod who, like King Louie from the Jungle Book, wants to be a real human too. He has a wife and children, all humans, and wants to live the good old-fashioned American dream with his family in their suburban home while wearing a particularly well-fitting blue suit. One problem with that is that he moves like he's got a real drinking problem. Well, that and the fact he's very obviously an octopus. I mean, look at him. I know they say love is blind, but even that doesn't excuse his family being completely oblivious to his distinctly octopus-like face. In fact, the only people who recognise his true nature are staff at an aquarium and a particularly hostile chef. Octodad has a very real charm to him as he burbles his way clumsily around day-to-day chores, inadvertently causing wanton destruction to various environments. Even if his family haven't noticed his appearance, they really should have some concerns about his motor functions. I wouldn't get too confrontational with Octodad though. I hear he's well armed. Okay, so I know I said at the start of the video that this was a collection of games that featured animals with at least 4 legs, but this game is just too charming to exclude. Due out later this year, Untitled Goose Game, yes that's actually the title, is a stealth adventure where you control a titular bird to sneak around a quaint village and generally ruin the day of a poor downtrodden groundskeeper. Think of it as Metal Goose Solid. There's something very adorable about the goose in this game, which cannot be said if you get chased by one in real life and it latches itself onto your arse. That's something that genuinely happened to an uncle of mine when he was a child. Of course, the full game isn't out yet, so perhaps it's a skill you unlock in later levels. So there you have it. 6 games in which the animal kingdom are the stars of the show. If you've got any recommendations, leave them in the comments, like and subscribe, and to the developers of those games, I offer a round of applause. I'm not even sorry.